want to come up and see Daddy? Come here. Oh, smiling. Come here. Give me your hands.
Jimmy Ray Bromgard is a free man today. But in 1987, he was sent to prison for the rape of a child, a crime he swore he never committed. He was no angel, but he said he never lied about his actions.
When I was a kid, I got caught stealing candy out of a store once. I got caught joyriding once. I mean, if I got caught, I admitted to it. I mean, it's a game. And I lost. They won. They caught me. There you go. Okay, I admit it. I did steal the beer. I admit it. I did steal the car. So, I mean, I wasn't going to admit I did something I didn't do. It just doesn't work that way. I wasn't raised that way.
It was one of those times that he got caught that changed his life forever.
I got in a fight at school when I believe I was 18 at the time. I got in a fight at school with this guy, and I had to do like 20-some days in jail. And while I was there, they asked me if I wanted to participate in the lineup. They didn't tell me why. I was like, sure. So I went in there, and we stood in line and left, and nobody ever told me anything about it until it was when they arrested me, and everything is like, that's what that was for, but they never told me what it was for.
At 18, Bromgard was charged with raping an 8-year-old Billings girl. Even his public defender didn't believe his claims of innocence.
When I entered my plea, the first words out of his mouth were, plead guilty and I'll get your plea bargain. It's like, I'm not going to plead guilty to something I didn't do. He said, you sure about that? It's like, yep. He said, okay then.
Bromgard never thought he'd be convicted. The victim wasn't completely certain he was her attacker. The state's entire case hinged on 2 hairs found at the crime scene. At the trial, State Crime Director Arnold Melnikoff testified that the hairs belonged to Bromgard. He said the odds that he was wrong were 1 in 10,000. A panel of forensic scientists would say years later that Melnikoff's testimony was, quote, completely contrary to generally accepted scientific principles of the day. But the jurors didn't know that.
Now, the jury is read rules, by the judge, be fair, listen to all the blah, blah, blah. Don't make up your mind before it's done. Well, the second day of the trial, which is when Melnikoff testified, and it was after the 3rd day of the trial, and I got found guilty, in the newspaper, there were several of the jury members that were convinced I was guilty after the 2nd day. They didn't even have to be there the 3rd day. That's how bad it was.
Bromgard was convicted and sentenced to 40 years in prison.
Yeah, it was nothing I saw coming, but back then people didn't know how bad the system is, and I don't know if it's getting any better or not. I know a lot of people are trying to get it better, but I don't know whether it's worked or not.
At age 19, Jimmy Ray Bromgard walked into the Montana State Prison. He had no idea how brutal it would be, especially for inmates accused of molesting children.
It was very scary. I was as tall as I am now, and I weighed about 140 pounds. Right now I weigh almost 300. I was a skinny kid with a big mouth, and I got my jaw broke about 2 days after I got off the intake unit. I got my jaw broken. I was in the infirmary for 6 weeks. I got lucky that it was in Montana. Montana is the state that screwed me over, because any other prison I probably would have been dead or a lot worse off than I was.
He never stopped insisting that he was innocent, not even when he was told that a confession and treatment as a sex offender could cut years off his sentence. He abandoned any hope that the justice system would recognize its mistake. Then, in 2002, a team of New York attorneys and law students decided to use new DNA technology to test the hairs that led to Bromgard's conviction. The test proved his innocence and set him free. But life wasn't easy outside of prison walls either.
I went from being a kid at my mom and dad's house to I'm 33 years old out here, have no money, have no job, can't get a job, don't have nothing, ain't gonna get nothing.
Bromgard never really got an apology from the system that took his youth away. He qualified for a special program to give him free college tuition, but the state never provided the money. In 2007, he sued the state for his wrongful imprisonment and received a settlement for $3.5 million. Since then, he's bought a few toys and a house in the country near Kalispell.
I'm happy out here. It's quiet out here. It's peaceful. You can go for a walk anytime you want and not have to worry about seeing cars or people or anything else. And it's all mine. I just have to pay taxes on it every year, which I've been finding out about taxes.
The kitchen is lined with evidence of the life he's built with his new girlfriend. Pictures of family and friends on one side and cookie jars on the other. Bromgard's been busy in the 7 years that he's been free, trying to recapture some of what he's lost.
Since then, I got to go see AC/DC in concert for my birthday. I never thought I was going to be able to see them. That was the bomb. That was killer. It's hard to play catch up. You can never catch up. You can always try. I'm still a big kid at heart, but now I'm a big kid and I got a family.
The man who never thought he'd have kids now has 3 stepdaughters and 2 children of his own, 13-month-old Rayanne and 2-month-old Miles.
I've been trying to make up since I've been out for lost time, and I've probably done more in the last 7.5 years I've been out than most people do in about 15, 20 years. So I went from having no gray hair to having quite a bit.